Saturday, time to kick off the Experts Program, and Luis Alvarez, CEO of the Alvarez Technology Group, is joining us here on Power Talk Radio. Happy weekend. Good morning to you, Luis.
Happy weekend to you. It's going to be a nice one, I think.
Mm-hmm. Lots of folks are in town for the Easter weekend holiday. How about you guys? Are you staying here or going out?
No, we're going to stay in town. We're going to go try out a new restaurant later today, and then tomorrow, just kind of lay low. We're going to barbecue a brisket.
Oh, nice.
Smoke a brisket for, Easter Sunday. And
that smoked brisket, I think, is one of your favorites, as I recall.
Oh, yeah. And
all right.
Ronnie has spent many a day trying to perfect the brisket cooking, which in a smoker is a little difficult, but she's done it. She's come up with a great recipe, and I'm looking forward to having some on Sunday.
Sounds great. Well, let's talk a little bit here about a bad tech stack hurting your employee retention. So, Luis, first and foremost, what is a tech stack?
Yeah, so what they're talking about there is the kind of technology that you use in your business. That includes the hardware, what kind of PCs or laptops that you're using, as well as software that you're using and how your network is connected and how it performs. And what they're talking about is that more and more employees are in high demand, even with the pandemic. Good information technology workers did not suffer from it. They were very, very busy, and they have choices. And a lot of them are making choices of where to work and to stay with their employer based on how they think the technology they have available to them works. So if they think that, hey, my boss isn't investing in me or my system, I have an old computer that's slow and I can't be really productive. We have really bad internet connection and I'm expected to, wait for hours to get things done when I know if I can get a job down the street with this other company that does exactly what this company does, but does invest in that, I'm going to be better off and I'm going to be more productive and I'm going to be rewarded for that. So employees are starting to make decisions based on what they perceive as the technology available to them and whether an employer is willing to, not at the bleeding edge, but at least at the leading edge of the latest and greatest stuff that makes them better workers and better employees.
I ran into that at the radio station where the computer that I was given to work with wasn't really very good. It was incredibly slow. And then I also discovered that I had to do so much work at home. If I was to do everything on a company-provided device, particularly like a desktop, I would be stuck there many more hours than I wanted to be. So I made a decision well over 10 years ago, use my own laptop, load it with all the software that they wanted us to use, and then I would carry that with me, and I would have that at home or wherever I happen to be. And I just found that for my own purposes, Luis, that was a lot faster and a lot better way to go because it just gave me a lot more control over my working environment.
Yeah, and you're not alone. A lot of employees have done that, especially during the pandemic when they're working from home and some of their employers have said, take your work computer home. And they're thinking, well, my home computer is better than my work computer. Exactly. I'm just going to work on that thing. And so as we start to get, the economy starts to heat up again and workers start to have more options available to them, it's important that business owners, understand that that is an element of the decision-making process. It's not just about money, especially with millennials and younger people. Money is not the number one motivator for them. It's typically more cultural related, more do they feel wanted? Do they feel needed by their employer? And part of that feeling of being wanted is about, is this employer going to invest in me in technology, making sure I have the right tools that I need to do my work, the right training, the right education. And those are all things that as we head into a recovery from the pandemic, we as business owners have to keep in mind, or else we're going to find ourselves trying to fill positions and not having people that want to work for us.
Sure. So what are some of the things that you think employers can do to improve the tech stack?
Well, first off, make sure that you understand the tools that your employees have, whether it's the PCs or laptops or monitors or keyboards. Is it the right technology for their job? Should they be instead using a mobile device? More and more of these applications are very mobile friendly. They work on tablets and smartphones, and maybe that's a smarter way for you to equip your employees rather than buying them a PC that makes them have to come to a desk all the time to fill out a report when they can just do it out in the field. A lot of agricultural companies are coming to recognize that smartphones and tablets are a much better investment in technology for their employees than a PC or a laptop because it's much more portable and easier to use. Work with your either IT director or a CIO if you're a big company, or if you're relying on a company like us as a managed services provider. Work with us to help you understand what's available out there. What is the latest technology and things that you should be considering, if not now, then down the road, to empower your users to be better at their jobs, have better mobility and better access to the data and the information that they need to do their jobs. And as we get back into recovery, I think you're going to still see a very hybrid workforce with people wanting to work remotely at least a few days a week, if not a few days a month, and not necessarily coming back to the office full time. We're hearing that from a lot of our clients where they're finding themselves kind of torn. Do I force my employees to come back, or do I give them the flexibility to work from home? And I think that flexibility, remote working environment is what a lot of information workers are going to be looking for. So keep that in mind as you put together your tech stack. And finally, one of the most important elements of this is, regardless of what you use, make sure that security is something that you think of at the front end and not the back end. Make sure that the technology, whether it's hardware or software or hosted services, you're keeping in mind that those devices need to be secure and need to be safe from being hacked or breached or ransomware or any of the other malwares that are out there, and there's plenty of them. So those are just some tips that I think would serve you well if you're a business owner or a business executive and you're trying to figure out, how do I keep my best employees and how do I attract even better employees?
Luis Alvarez, CEO of the Alvarez Technology Group, joining us today on Power Talk Radio, online, alvareztg.com, at AlvarezTG. That's the Twitter handle. And Luis, the toll-free number for the I-Team.
Give us a call at 866-78-I-TEAM. That's 866-784-8326.
Thanks, Luis.
Thank you, Mark.